What's going on, everybody? It's Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. We've got some shakiness going on, and AMC is knocking on $48. In this video, we're going to go over everything that you need to know going forward for the month of September, why I feel like things are really starting to get a little bit shaky, and what is happening with AMC. So let's get right into it. First off, the crypto market knocking off a good percentage of the entire market cap. You see Bitcoin was down all the way to that $43,000 level, still down 10% in 24 hours. Ethereum at 13%, Cardano 15%. Absolutely insane. A little bit of a speculation there saying liquidity is needed, and that might just be the case. Bitcoin sitting at that 30,000 support that we had just a little over a month ago was really strong. Great place to add to it. Going to stay away from the crypto market as now it is getting to be a little bit choppy. Also, the White House proposes a stopgap bill with disaster aid as Congress hashes out trillions in spending. We are still pumping an astronomical amount of money. The Biden administration on Tuesday proposed this measure in order to fund the government as lawmakers haggle over the $1 trillion infrastructure bill. But what stood out to me even more, without a continuing resolution, the federal government would shut down and spark a wave of furloughs for federal workers until Congress passes a funding bill, especially as the economy is starting to hit a little bit of that stalling and inflation is rising. You have the eviction moratorium ending, the added jobless benefits ending. This is getting to be a little bit shaky. Like I said to everybody in the groups, it is not time to YOLO on puts yet, but it's just great to raise awareness. Also, you see up here, the Dow Jones dropped 260 points as investors grow concerned about Delta variant's impact on the economic recovery. Things to keep in mind going forward. My long positions my portfolio has been shrunk down, and my long positions are getting to be much shorter and shorter time frames. Couple plays to go over. Two of them just to really point out today was Moderna and Novavax. I had said that I didn't see a gap yet on Moderna, and there was no indication given. I did give a call out under the stock alerts chat. We'll go over that one. And also Novavax, a rip above 259 will give room to a $4 or $5 run. The other plays didn't really get a break between the highs or the lows. We had a few bucks on either one, but nothing really to write home about. I will say Novavax, above that 259, ripped all the way to a high of 271. Moderna, I called out once we got that second breach right here above that 425, rolled that all the way to a high of 438. Very slow and steady pace. For some of you that are at work and you're only able to check your phone, here and there, you're able to take small positions. These were great plays. They were not very choppy. They were not ones that you had to get in and you're getting out of in 2 minutes. So it was nice to see this because some of the plays, they absolutely ripped. They hit that, resistance, and it's time to sell. And sometimes you're only in them in less than a minute. So these are great plays for anybody that, like I said, is not able to stare at the computer all day. Just wanted to shout out a couple of those. Also, DraftKings going into, I did my fantasy draft last night with Gabe and TMI, Matt Kors, and Trey was there, so it's going to be interesting to see. I will say this for any of you that are watching my video, I totally messed up picking Will Lutz as my kicker. As soon as I did that, I was like, wait a minute, he is still on the injured reserve. But we're going to see what happens going forward. Very new to fantasy football, so I wanted to shout that out. Now let's get to AMC, sitting at 47 after hours, knocking on that $48 level. Couple things that I am really starting to see is that shorts are starting to back away. Their positions are getting smaller and smaller. You can see this topping right here. We have $48 level. I'm going to draw a line so everybody can see this all the way across. It's not perfect, but all the way across, we are knocking on this consistently. We continue to get the curl, next leg up, higher lows, and eventually that breakthrough is going to happen. And when that breakthrough happens, we have a little bit of a 50 psychological level, as I wrote in the chat today. But from there, it's going to be an open ocean back into the 50s and 60s where we were comfortable for so long. But seeing the order flow, watching the order flow coming in. Now, I will mention this to everybody. and I don't know if I've really said it that long, but there are a lot of, professional or very experienced day traders who, belong to other, brokerages that not like TD, because I cannot short it, that we're shorting this every single day, getting in and out 10 minutes, 10 minutes. You zoom into this chart right here. And as you can see, what some people would call the step ladder, this little pops right here, these aren't buyers stepping in. These are just shorts covering. You might see a little bit of a base, maybe a quick one, maybe the shorts continue to cover as well, but that's what these little pops are. And they continue to ride this down. However, their positions are getting smaller and smaller. Take a look at the volume we had today, 100 million. We were up almost 10% today on 100 million shares traded. If you look at the options chain, it's nothing to write home about when it comes to volume. We do have a 70-30 call to put ratio, which is something we really like to see, but 569,000 is not a huge amount of volume to write home on. So like I said, this isn't massive buyers stepping in. These are the shorts that are starting to back away, just seeing the trend that we're in. Once we can get that solid break above it, that's when the other traders and the other buyers will begin to go in. That's when you're going to see the volume get back to that $250 million level going forward. So what I'm still looking to see from this daily chart right here is a continued breakout. I'm going to draw another line, as you can see this uptrend we have going forward, and just that $48 resistance. Once we get above that 50, that's going to act as another level of support to going up. This time is a little bit slower. If you go back, if you've been rocking with us since April and May, when you finally saw this breakout in June, it was absolutely vicious. We had, what was this, 5 days? Or sorry, well, it's 9 days. 9 days since the original 14 breakout, but it was very, very quick. Once we got above that $29 level, I believe it was on that Friday, the next Tuesday was kind of stagnant, and that Wednesday after Memorial Day was the absolute rip. This is going to be going a little bit slower, which means that the profit taking isn't going to be as dramatic as it was. You saw the next day. And this was also when Adam Aaron had announced the offering, which is off the table this time. We ripped all the way back down to that $39 level. Once the announcement was made that the at-the-market offering was over, it recovered, but it never really got that same sentiment. So just as a reminder, the differences between there's no offering that's available to be had. And I will point this out for everybody that is wondering about swinging other plays that, such as BBIG or any or, SPRT. It's very common for some of these companies, especially these biotech companies, where they don't have the biggest floats, but their companies are still in testing phases and trial phases, and they might run off some sentiment saying it was, an FDA, or an FDA clearance or some type of approval, or they're ready to go to the next phase, that the stock will begin to rip up, and investors will jump on this very early on, and by the time it gets over to the resale side, you just see that momentum moving, and sometimes people will hang over this. And it's very common for these companies to do an offering because they need that money as much as they can. A lot of these companies are still very far in the negative because they're trials. So think about that going forward, especially when it comes to biotech and you are thinking about holding any of these plays after AMC absolutely rips. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.